In a quiet town, whispers of an eerie past surrounded the old Hawthorne Mansion, an imposing structure that stood like a dark sentinel over the landscape. For decades, it had been left to rot, its windows boarded tightly, and thick vines creeping up its weathered walls as if trying to reclaim it for nature. Local children exchanged dares to approach the mansion, but none had the courage to step too close. Tales of ghostly apparitions and strange occurrences kept them at bay. One fateful autumn evening, a group of 4 friends, Emily, adventurous and headstrong, Jake, always the skeptic, Sarah, a bit timid, and Mark, the joker of the group, decided it was time to explore the infamous mansion. With flashlights in hand and an air of bravado, they pushed open the creaking front door, which protested with a long, eerie groan. A musty, stale scent wafted out, filled with the unmistakable odor of mildew and decay. As they entered the grand foyer, the light from the setting sun flickered behind dark clouds, casting long shadows that danced across the walls. Dust motes swirled in the beams of their flashlights, and the floorboards beneath their feet groaned ominously. Emily, ever the leader, strode ahead, her heart a mix of excitement and dread. "Look at this place!" she exclaimed, illuminating a faded portrait that hung crookedly on the wall. It depicted a stern man clad in a top hat, his piercing gaze seeming to follow them as they moved. "Who do you think he is?" "Probably the owner," Jake speculated, leaning closer. "He might be the one haunting this dump." Suddenly, a faint whisper echoed through the air, akin to the rustle of dry leaves. The group halted, exchanging uneasy glances. "Did you hear that?" Sarah asked, her voice barely above a whisper, a tremor betraying her fear. "Just the wind," Mark suggested, though the uncertainty in his voice betrayed his bravado. As they pressed further into the mansion, the whispers grew louder, coiling around them like a sinister melody. They followed the sounds, which led them to a narrow staircase spiraling downward into an impenetrable darkness. "Should we go down?" Sarah hesitated, her voice quaking. "Come on, it'll be an adventure," Emily encouraged, her enthusiasm infectious. One by one, they descended the stairs, each step taking them further from the familiarity of daylight. At the bottom of the staircase, they found themselves in a dimly lit cellar. The air was shockingly cold and damp, and the whispers morphed into a cacophony of voices, soft, desperate, filled with anguish. Shadows flickered at the periphery of their flashlights, twisting and writhing as if they had a life of their own. "Guys, this is getting really creepy," Jake muttered, his earlier courage waning. "Maybe we should turn back." Just as they began to retreat, the cellar door slammed shut with a deafening thud, plunging them into an oppressive darkness. Panic surged through the group as they pounded on the door, but it remained stubbornly sealed. "Stay calm," Emily shouted, her voice firm despite the fear gripping her. "Let's find another way out." As they moved deeper into the cellar, their flashlights revealed old furniture draped in dusty sheets, shattered bottles, and an imposing mirror hanging on the wall, its surface clouded with grime. Emily felt a strange pull towards the mirror, an inexplicable urge to draw closer. As she gazed into its depths, the whispers intensified, swirling around her like a tempest. "Emily, don't," Mark warned, but it was too late. She reached out a trembling hand to touch the mirror, and in an instant, its surface rippled like water. A dark, shadowy figure began to materialize behind her, its grotesque form barely discernible. The others gasped, instinctively recoiling in horror. "Leave this place," the figure hissed, its voice a chilling echo of the whispers. "You do not belong here." Frightened, Emily stumbled backward, pulling away from the mirror. "What are you?" she cried, her voice thick with terror. "I am the keeper of this house," the figure replied, its tone low and menacing. "You have awakened the spirits that dwell within these walls. They thirst for freedom, and you shall pay the toll." The friends huddled together, hearts racing as the shadows began to writhe and twist, reaching out with ghostly tendrils. They felt icy fingers brush against their skin, tugging at them with a malevolent intent. "Run!" Jake shouted, and they bolted toward the door. But the shadows moved faster, blocking their escape. They could now hear the distinct cries of the trapped spirits, echoing their own fear. "Help us!" one voice pleaded. "Set us free!" "The mirror!" Sarah shouted suddenly, her eyes wide with realization. "It's a portal. We have to break it." With no time to spare, they seized an old chair and hurled it at the mirror. The glass shattered with a deafening crash, sending a shockwave of energy surging through the room. The shadows shrieked in fury, swirling into a chaotic vortex as the spirits trapped within the mirror were released. In the turmoil, the friends felt a powerful force pulling them towards the mirror's remnants. Grasping each other's hands tightly, they formed a chain of solidarity. Summoning every ounce of courage, they shouted in unison, "We want to leave!" As the last of the shadows dissipated, the cellar door creaked open. Without a moment's hesitation, they raced up the stairs, their heartbeats thundering in their ears. They burst through the front door, gasping for the cool night air, relief flooding their senses. The Hawthorne Mansion loomed silently behind them, its dark presence still palpable. They turned to leave, but as they glanced back one last time, they saw the figure from the mirror standing in the doorway, its hollow eyes fixed upon them. "Never return," it hissed, before vanishing into the suffocating darkness. From that day forward, the friends kept a safe distance from the Hawthorne Mansion. The whispers lingered in their minds, a haunting reminder of the shadows that lurked within. And each autumn, as the fog rolled in, they would hear the distant cries of the tormented spirits, forever echoing the edges of their dreams, a chilling reminder of the horrors they had narrowly escaped.